been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your tax?
Excited to be in the studios of Unity 93.3 FM Unity TV this morning. Is Tuesday, and a lovely Tuesday, so to say, and it's the 27th day in the month of February, the year 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. We're reaching you live from the hills of ZINARIYA here in just North Plateau State, Nigeria. Plateau, remember, is the home of peace and tourism, and for us here, the voice of reason. Iji Adamu remains my name, your regular anchor, Unity Train every weekday, Mondays to Fridays. In the studio, I have someone whom, of course, I believe you'll be very happy to hear from him this morning, Professor Poveno H. Mayi. And as usual, I'm sure he'll be saying a very big good morning to our listener and our viewer. Prof, let me begin by saying good morning, sir.
Good morning, Colby.
Yes.
Good morning, viewers and listeners in other parts of the world. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time is where you are. It's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful day here on the hills of ZINARIYA, Jos City, Plateau State, Nigeria. And we're very happy this morning that we are in the studio, in spite of the challenges we have in Nigeria, in spite of the little tension across the country. Could be when I was coming, I saw battle-ready security forces all over, you know, and they are prepared for today. But we are glad that we are here in the studio of Unity FM 93.3. FM radio and Unity TV. Wherever you're watching us from, and by whatever means, Facebook, YouTube, cable TV, or through the radio, we are happy to have you. It's a beautiful day, beautiful morning, fantastic day, 27 February 2024. And I want to remind you of your goals for the year 2024. Those objectives, those dreams, those great visions that you have for 2024. How far so far? How far so far have you gone? Are you 20% or 30% or 40%, 50%? How far have you gone in accomplishing those goals? And are you sure that by the end of 2024 you will have been able to achieve the goals? Remember, your goals must be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So, please put some action to those your goals. Remember, to be successful, you must be a man and a woman of vision, of passion, and of action. If there is no action, it will just be an intention. And intentions are good, but they achieve nothing. So please put some action to those your intentions, to those your aspirations, to those your plans, and always remember to be the change that you want to see in the world.
I love this. I love it. Real good. Prof, you know, your vision, you have to have passion, and then you also have to put action. Otherwise, it remains an intention.
Yes.
Oh, mine. And we will continue to be a country and a people retrogressing all the time if we would not, you know, have action put to our, you know, visions. I have a special edition here and a request. And please, let's listen to this. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Colby. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Have you people eaten, please?
We have eaten, God's willing.
All right, thank you so much. This is MISALI calling from Nefazaria.
All right, please.
Sorry, I wanted to report something since yesterday from the city report. I couldn't. During the program, again, I couldn't get you people.
Today,
I tried this morning, I couldn't. I said, wow.
All right, so you have a minute, please. Let's hear from you.
Yes, there's another problem, the issue of Shafi Mulere. You know, this is what resulted to the crisis of 2001.
Okay.
Somebody will just decide, you just sit and say, you just look at somebody and say, he has stolen my private part. So the other person will be beaten to death. This thing started happening like a movie. Before you know it, crisis erupted. So this time again, I had a report that 2 people were beaten because they said their private part was stolen by some people, and they were beaten blue and black. So please, I want Prof to emphasize on this, to call people to order, because some people have mental problem, and if person have mental problem, just say something is missing from his body, and whereas that thing is there. So please, we need to open our eyes. Anything that will bring a problem, please, we should try and avoid it. People have been saying if we see something, we must say something. So that's why I say, let me say something here.
All right.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much. That is Yakubu Saleh, a city reporter. He's a regular. He does not just listen to us, but he calls. You see, Prof, I think we'll just start from this, even on this very review segment.
Yes.
You know, someone will just, if he has grudges, if he has something against you, or maybe he's not in his right senses, I will just shout and say, I can't see some part of my body, and he's this man, he just touched me, and I feel something leaving me. And then people will just take law into their hands and begins to beat you. The more you try to say, no, it's not me. And when beatings is so much, sometimes you begin to say, okay, I will confess. Just because, just in case you will buy some time.
Yeah.
And so Yakubu Saleh is saying we need to say something here.
You know, this keeps happening. I've heard this again and again. In one of the neighboring states, in recent times, also the same thing. You know, somebody was telling me over the phone. Now, somebody says his private part is missing. Did you verify that the private part is missing? I mean, we have to be scientific. I know that people believe in so many fetishes. They believe in a lot of superstition. We believe in science. In science, you have to prove something. Of course, we know that there is the spiritual angle. Just because somebody said, this person just touched me and a part of my body has disappeared. Does that warrant lynching the person, beating him up without evidence? I mean, we should have some scientific evidence. If the private part is missing, undress the person and check. Is the private part not there? Before you do anything. And in fact, you don't even have the right
to do anything,
to take the law to your hands. You have no right to beat up anybody or do anything. The best you can do is hand the person over to law enforcement agents.
And I love the English you use, Prof, very well, because it explains what we are to do. Hand him over. That is to say, you make sure the person has not disappeared from the scene.
Yes.
He's still there, and then when the authority comes, or you call them, then you hand over. That's all you need to do, not to beat the person.
Not to beat the person. And this is very easy. You're in distress, in case you don't even know the phone number of the police, just dial 112. 112. That's a national emergency number. 112. Please, viewers and listeners, don't try the number, because you just raise the alarm, they will think something is happening. Don't say, let me just test the number.
Don't try it.
Don't call the number except there is an emergency. Don't call that number 112 except you're in distress, except there is a problem. Don't dial 112. Dial it only when you're sure that there is an emergency that needs to be attended to. So your own is hand over the suspect and even the person complaining. Both of them should go to the police station, and the matter should be sorted out, should be handled. Otherwise, we'll just kill innocent people. You know, some years ago, they killed an innocent man. After they killed the man, they discovered that the accusation was not true. Just yesterday in Pakistan, they wanted to kill a woman because she wore a dress, and there was Arabic writing on the dress, and the mob gathered to lynch the woman, and the police intervened timely, only to discover that the writing on the woman's dress was not has nothing to do with Quranic writing. It's just the Arabic language that was written, because you felt They felt that she was desecrating, the Quran. This also happens, in Christianity and other religions. Sometimes people are not well informed, and they take the law into their hands. Before you know it, there is a crisis. So, if somebody says, my private part just disappeared, this person touched me, all right, that's good and fine. Stay there. Let's undress you and see whether it is there or not. Or better still, let's wait for the police to arrive. You and the accused go to the police station. The police will settle the matter. Let's not take the law into our hands. Because we are in difficult times. We are in perilous times. We are in times of crisis. And people want to seize any opportunity, to foment trouble, to cause crisis. Before you know it, this crisis will take a religious dimension, and the city is on fire, the country is on fire, and it just started from a small spark. Yes. And that is why, with this tension in the country, people are hungry, people are angry, people are frustrated, people are confused, there is chaos, there is anarchy all over the country, there is pandemonium, people don't know what to do. And because of frustration, somebody can do anything. So somebody can just say, well, this one just touched me, and a part of my body is missing. And before you know it, there is mob action. And this jungle justice, the people, they don't listen. They don't listen to the voice of reason. They will just attack the person. Before the person has an opportunity to defend himself, he's already a corpse. So please, don't take the law into your hands. Don't attack anybody. Don't go out and cause trouble. Even if they say this person is a thief, it is not your right to kill the person. Yes. If they say this person did this thing, you have no right to take anybody's life. There are law enforcement agents. Hand the person safely to the law enforcement agents. Let the law take its course.
Of course, Prof, today we'll be talking a lot about the NLC protest, nationwide protest. But can we just brush a little on these? I don't know. Maybe, of course, maybe we just go through it on the surface, because it's something that deserves a whole session, because it's very sensitive. A human rights lawyer, Malcolm Mirhobo, has challenged the former military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, retired, to show evidence of any federal government project his government established in the southeastern part of Nigeria after the Biafran Civil War many years ago. I think this would have to give it a whole time, some other time, and then we'll talk at length so that our listener and viewer, we digest, and then we talk a lot there. But then, this is one issue. Maybe from this moment, we'll just say one or two things, and then we go to what is expected of us to talk about today.
Well, that's a challenge to the former head of state. Show evidence that you did something tangible in the southeastern part of the country since after the Civil War. The Civil War ended in 1970 with the famous declaration by His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, no victor, no vanquish. It means we are brothers, we had a quarrel. Nobody can say he triumphed over the other person. Nobody can say, oh, I'm victorious. I am the victor. No, we are brothers. So, the war has ended. Let's go back to where we were before. And that's why the Gowon administration started what they call the 3 R's: reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation policy. But the former head of state is being challenged today. Did you really do this in the southeast? And Kobe, let's be sincere to ourselves. I have been to the southeast, and I'm sure some viewers and listeners have been to the southeast, and some of them are even from the southeast. Can we say truly that there has been a reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation? Can we say that the federal government of Nigeria truly reconstructed this nation, especially the southeast, after the civil war? Let's tell ourselves the truth. We are not sentimental on this platform. We want to be objective. Let's analyze the situation. Can we say that the federal government really invested in the southeast?
Yes. Prof,
after the civil war.
Prof, thank you so much for bringing it to this angle. The federal government, this time around, not General Yakubu Gowon.
General Yakubu Gowon is just an individual. An individual representing the federal government. He's just an individual. So, we should not even be talking about General Yakubu Gowon. We should be talking about the federal government of Nigeria. General Yakubu Gowon may have failed during his time as head of state to do the needful, but that doesn't stop the federal government of Nigeria from reconstruction, from reconciliation, from rehabilitation. How many investments did the federal government make in the southeast after the civil war? We know that the southeasterners are very industrious. Wherever they go, you know, their diligence, they're very industrious, they will invest, and then they will stand out for themselves and make a living. But truly, what has the federal government done in the southeastern part of the country? I think that is the question that the federal government needs to answer. And whatever happened during General Yakubu Gowon's time, that is something for him to also answer now that he has been given an open challenge. But as far as I see, in the southeast, there has been very little investment by the federal government of Nigeria since after the Biafran War.
Again, you know, still on this, but very brief, of course. Emeritus Archbishop of Enugu Anglican Diocese, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Chukwuma, who just retired from priesthood, and in an interview with Vanguard, this one is coming from Vanguard, by the way, say, what is happening now with the whole of northern Nigeria, banditry, kidnappings, etc., is God's punishment for what they did to Igbo people. These are, you know, we're talking about clerics to also see what they say. This one is not one that one would say is unguarded, or it's just his opinion, is what he feels as regards what is happening in the north. But of course, you know, should we ascribe some of these happenings to some things that were done in the past?
Well, let me ask Reverend Professor Emmanuel Chukwuma. Is hip hop also a punishment of God for the southeast? Because in the southeast they have hip hop there. Hip hop that will kill people, cut their private parts, rip their wombs open, kill their own people. Their own people in the southeast.
Because they are working with Nigerian government.
Is that a punishment from God also for the southeast? Hip hop that declared a day of no work, Mondays, for years in the southeast, grounded the economy of the southeast. When people decide to open market in some parts of the southeast on Mondays, hip hop will go there and destroy everything and even kill them and shoot them. In some parts of the southeast, people wanted to vote. Hip hop members went there, opened fire, killed them. Is that also a punishment from God for the southeast? I think our clerics need to be guided. Don't just say, okay, you have bandits in the north, that's a punishment from God for the northerners for what they did, you know, to Biafra. These bandits are all over the country, they're not only in the north. We have bandits operating in the southwest. Is that a punishment from God for the southwest? We have bandits operating even in some parts of the southeast We have herdsmen there attacking, kidnapping. The Methodist Archbishop was kidnapped in the southeast by bandits, by herdsmen. Is that a punishment from God also? So you see, we have to be very careful when we try to spiritualize socio-economic, political problems in the country. When we try to give them some spiritual connotation and interpretation, it becomes a problem for us, because people will ask you, look at the other side of the coin. You see, when you say that, okay, this is a punishment coming from God, is God punishing all the people? What did the innocent children in the north, what did they do that they are dying? That God is punishing them. Is God punishing the babies? The babies in the womb that are innocent, that did not do anything, God is punishing them and killing them also? I think this cleric needs to be guided. The Reverend Professor Chukwuma Emmanuel needs to be guided. He has the right to give his own opinion. But in this case, I think there is problem with the logic behind his analysis. Because if you say it is a punishment from God for the known, it should be restricted to the people who committed the offense. The offense you are talking about, most of the people suffering now, were they even born during that time? So God is punishing them. It means that God is punishing the whole of Nigeria, including yourself, Reverend Professor Chukwuma Emmanuel. You are being punished also because you are suffering. You are suffering from the crisis of banditry, of hip-hop, of kidnapping, of criminality in the country. You are suffering. So that is also a punishment on you. So God is punishing the Igbo people again after they have suffered in Biafra. Can the Reverend Professor Emmanuel Chukwuma walk freely all over Nigeria without being kidnapped? So is that another punishment? That God is punishing the same Igbo people that suffered in Biafra? They have been punished again by God? I think there is a problem with that logic.
And again,
we know that we have crisis in the country. Yes. But please don't say that it is a punishment from God on some people. If it is a punishment from God, it is for the whole country, including yourself that is talking.
Okay, how is it that it was the North that did that? How is it that it was the North? Because, of course, is it because General Yakubu Gowon, okay, being someone from the North and was leading the country at that time, is it on this that it seems to be said that it was the North that did that? Was it not the federal government? Was it not like the government doing this? So you see again where ethnicity comes into play. So if today you are a president, you're leading a nation, and you're not seen to be the #1 citizen of every ethnic nationality represented in that country, you are seen as a man from your own very own village, then there's a problem.
Absolutely.
Because it was Yakubu Gowon leading at that time. And now coming from the North as a region. So it is the Northerners that have done that to the people, the Igbos. So how is it not a problem for us in this country?
I just wonder. I think the Reverend Professor Emmanuel Chukwuma is even forgetting that before all these things happened, the first military head of state of Nigeria was General Aguiyi-Ironsi, Johnson Aguiyi-Ironsi. And after him was Yakubu Gowon. After Yakubu Gowon, of course, you have Murtala Ramad Mohammed and a series of other people. There is none of these regimes where Igbo people did not play an active role. In all these governments, there is not a single one of them that they were not actively involved. Now, you see, on this platform, we tell ourselves the truth. If you do wrong, could be, I'll tell you the truth. If I do wrong, tell me the truth. Yesterday we said Sheikh Idris Abdulaziz, who was calling for the head of Oluremi Tinubu, the first lady. We condemned him vehemently on this platform. Just like we've condemned some other former clerics before who wanted to take advantage of the people and cause confusion and bloodshed in the country. And today we are saying that the Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma is wrong in his analysis to blame the North for the woes of another region. Because the North doesn't own Nigeria. Every one of us contributed to the problems we're having today in Nigeria. It is mediocrity to shift the blame to one region and say these people are our problem. You know, mediocres always look for an excuse. They always want to blame somebody for their problem. Let's agree that we have a problem. Let's seek a solution to the problem, because this problem is all over the country. If you say the North, which place is in the North? Where is North in Nigeria? Kwara State is in the North. Are they the ones that caused the problem? Kogi State is in the North. Benue State is in the North. So you're blaming the victims of the commotion, of the confusion, of the problems of Nigeria. You're blaming them that they are the ones causing problems in Nigeria. And the problem you're talking about, banditry, is even all over Nigeria. It's a pandemic in Nigeria. And now you're trying to make it look as if it's only restricted to a certain part in Nigeria. The clergyman that is talking himself, is he free of banditry, attacks, of kidnapping? Nigeria is not safe. There is insecurity. Anything can happen to any one of us any day, any time in this country. So let's stop, pushing the blame. Let's stop, generalizing. Let's stop saying spiritualizing. Let's stop spiritualizing the problem and saying it is a judgment that is coming from God. That's not the way God operates. And I'm glad that God is not a human being. Because if God was a Nigerian, we would have been in trouble. God is not a bigot. God is not a religious bigot. God is not an ethnic bigot. A lot of our clerics are religious bigots. They're ethnic bigots in religious clothes, and it is not good for the country. It is not good when clerics become bigots, when clerics take sides, when clerics are prejudicial, when clerics stereotype people. It is not a good thing. It's part of the problems that we're having in this country.
Okay, in a few more minutes before we come to an end of the segment, the customs suspends the rise of sales after 7 die in stampede. Okay, we have just about 2 minutes to go on this, and probably when we come back, it's going to be a time for what is expected of us, because our viewer and listener probably will not even forgive us if we don't get to talk about the nationwide strike. But before then, let's just have just a few minutes on this customs suspense rise to sell after 7.
Well, the customs officials, authorities, have suspended the sale of rice in Lagos. The 25 kilogram bag of rice that they were selling for 10,000 naira, that cost a stampede. That's to tell you how hungry Nigerians are. Nigerians, literally, a mammoth crowd, invaded the premises of the custom office in Lagos just to buy this 25 kilogram bag of rice for 10,000 naira. Nigerians are really hungry. I feel sorry for this country. I feel sorry for our citizens, because of the bad policies of our government over the years, because of ineptitude of our government, lack of visionary leadership over the years. The people have become beggars and slaves in their own country. They have become IDPs in their own country. And these people went to buy bags of rice. And at least 7 of them died in a stampede. This is a big blow to this government, a big blow to us as a people. That people who are hungry, people who just wanted to feed themselves, ended up losing their own lives. You ask yourself, what sin did they commit that they deserve to die in a stampede? I mean, is it wrong to look for food to eat? Is it wrong to carry your 10,000 naira to go and buy a bag of rice? Is it wrong to want to fend for your own family. But you see, in a country that everything is disorganized, you have this problem.
Okay.
You're selling bags of rice. Why don't you organize the sale in such a way that there will not be a stampede? Why don't you give the people numbers? Why don't you be orderly? You know, when I was in Southeast Asia, when you go to get something, if there is a crowd, the computer will give you numbers based on the order in which you arrived. So as you're arriving, you touch the computer, it gives you a number. You take a number, it will print out the piece of paper, you hold it. The next person will touch it. The next person like that. The computer will be calling you in the order of the numbers that you've taken. That's organization.
All right.
You're well organized. Now, you want to sell bags of rice at giveaway prices. Did you organize it properly? These are supposed to be paramilitary officers that should know discipline and order. And you just made it haphazard. People just come anyhow, crowded the place, and there was commotion and stampede.
Okay.
I think those custom officials should be held responsible for the death of these innocent Nigerians that died in a stampede. They don't have an excuse. It is lack of organization.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Our listener and our viewer, thank you so much for always being there. It's time for us to go on a very short break. When we come back, I'm sure you will not regret staying tuned. We'll be right back.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion?